This video clip is going to show you how to use the scientific method booklet, so you can work your way through it with me. So click on, in Google Classroom, the post that has this PDF in it. So you'll see here it says PDF and it's called the scientific method booklet. I'm going to show you how to open it first of all because it's a little bit tricky. So click on that and then you'll be taken to a screen that looks like this. So it's got the title up in the left hand corner so you can see that you've got the right one. We want to go to the right hand corner and click on these three dots where it says more actions. Then click on open in new window and it's going to take you to a new page. On this new page you're going to click open with in the top center and then choose the first option, or if it's not your first option, choose the one that's called Lumen PDF. So this one here, and it has that little icon like a lightning bolt. So click on that one. Sometimes it won't open straight away, so you'll need to click on the blue button down here which says open my file. You just saw it quickly. Mine's already been opened, which is why it's going quite fast. Now from here you're going to open it up and it will probably open for you to this page here, the introduction. We want to skip ahead to page 5, so you can use the scroll bar on the side or you can use the arrows here. So go to page 5. Okay, so now we're going to be looking at variables. Variables, or writing about and identifying variables, is a skill that you need for your experiment and to gain credits. So that's why we're going to spend a little bit of time practicing this. And in this document, you're going to be able to edit on it so you don't have to handwrite on a hard copy. So I'll read through this first part and show you how to do the first example and then you can get on with it. So it says here, variables are things in an experiment that can change or be controlled. There are 3 different types. An independent variable, which is what you change. It's the thing that you are testing, and it should be the only thing you change in an experiment. The dependent variable, which is what you measure. That is the variable that changes depending on the value of what you're changing up here, the independent variable. And finally, the control variable. Now you'll have more than one of these. These are everything that you have to keep the same to make sure that there are no other changes and that the impact, the thing that you're measuring with the dependent variable, is only caused by the changes you make in the independent variable. So you usually have to put in for the control variables at least 3 and explain why those things have to be kept the same. But we'll get onto that shortly. So if we go down, you can see the first questions here. Now on the left hand side of your page, you should have these options here. These are the editing tools, so you're going to be able to use those to write all over this document. So for each of these following experiments, which are written here, you need to identify the independent variable, the dependent variable, and 3 controlled variables. It says there may be more than 3, but you need to only identify some of them. So for experiment 1, it says you are to investigate the amount of bacteria that grows on 4 different surfaces. Okay, so first of all I'm going to highlight the different variables that I can spot in there. So these words here, you are to investigate, that doesn't really matter. That's just telling us what we're doing. But amount of bacteria, doesn't want to work for me, amount of bacteria, maybe we'll underline instead, see if it lets us do that. There we go. Amount of bacteria, that is one part. And then grows on 4 different surfaces. That's another part. Okay, so those are 2 different variables within there. So the independent variable, if we look back up here, that is the thing that you change. So what is the thing that we are going to change in this experiment? It's the 4 different surfaces. So I can click on this button here with the A in it, click here where I want to write the independent variable, and I will put 4 different surfaces. Okay. The dependent variable is the thing, if we look up here, that you are measuring. So the thing that you are measuring is the amount of bacteria that grows. So we'll write here, the amount of bacteria that grows. And try and make it a bit easier to read. So you can change the font size. There we go, that fits better. Okay, controlled variables. So These are the things that we have to keep the same, so that the only thing that we're changing in this experiment is the different surfaces. So when I think of control variables, sometimes it's easier to think about where you'll be doing the experiment and what things in that environment have to be kept the same. So if we were going to do this experiment in the lab, we'd set it up and we'd need to keep things like the temperature of the lab the same each day. Something else we'd need to keep the same would possibly be, actually we'll put, so that's one thing that we've got to keep the same. Second thing that we have to keep the same, we could possibly keep the substrate, food, so substrate is just a fancy word for food that the bacteria is growing on. Because if we use different types of food, some of the bacteria might like some more than others, and so they might grow faster. And finally, something else we could keep the same is perhaps we could keep the size of the surfaces the same. Because if we change the size of the surface, then you might get more bacteria growing in a particular area because there'd be more space. So these ones here, control variables, they're a little bit abstract, but usually if you think about things like temperature, or where you're doing the experiment, or what is required for the experiment, so you could look through an equipment list, or you could think about what might be in the equipment list, then that can help you. Alright, you have a go at the rest of them, so you're going to carry on down page 5, filling it in like I did for the first example, and then here you have to expand on the variables a little bit more. So read through the instructions there, and then fill in more details. It's exactly the same as what you've been doing, but you're filling in more details, and you'll notice that they're giving you a bit more information, and they've also already got an example here done for you. So read through that carefully and see if you can use it to help you fill in this down here. Excellent. Get on with that then.